Ever walked past a business and a beautifully crafted sign caught your eye? That's what we create at Eminent Signs and Graphics Inc. Whether you're starting fresh or revamping your brand, our expert team designs, fabricates, and installs signs that truly embody your business's spirit. From channel letters to monument signs, we handle it all. Ready to stand out? Visit us today at 1888 Freeman Avenue in Signal Hill, California, and see the magic for yourself.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
When Alex became a god, he thought he would have no problems at all. Until... He landed in the Divine Dimension and was tasked with protecting the entire multiverse.
Am I connected to every single Alex Ambrose that ever existed?
Alex could travel across dimensions, defying the laws of time and space, to help other Alexes throughout the multiverse. But then everything changed.
No! Aw!
I have to go back and save them.
But if Alex went back to the mortal world, he would relinquish all of his power and his memories.
I don't have a choice. I must go back.
When Alex returned back to Earth, he goes back to being your average business tycoon millionaire, unaware that the people he cared most about are in danger.
Someone help me!
Yvonne, what happened?
I was attacked by a monster. Alex? What's going on? Get away from him! He is my boyfriend!
Who attacked Yvonne in the forest? What will Debbie do next? Who will Alex choose between the two women? Will Alex ever remember who he was before traveling into a different multiverse? To hear what happens next and whether Alex can stop the deranged monster before he strikes again, listen to the original audio drama, Insta Millionaire Returns, only on Pocket FM. Download the app now and find out.
Presentation. Welcome back to Turn 200's coverage of the ASRL Limited Science and Graphics Sports Car Championship. We are here from virtual Belgium, where things are a little damp. But the spirits are not damp after an interesting week of racing last week at Le Mans. It's time for 60 minutes around Spa, a track that is not quite as big, but just as, if not more dangerous, especially in the conditions that these drivers may have to endure here today. A lot of twists and turns around this 4.35 mile, 21 turn circuit featured on the channel for the third time here tonight. It's Tommy Cook and it's Matt Williamson hanging out with you here, getting ready for some sports car action in the wet, kind of, for just the second time in series history.
Yeah, things are, dry as far as rainfall at the moment, but the track is still a little bit wet from rain previously in the session, so things might be a little damp to start out here, but we are expecting rain maybe a little bit later as well, so the conditions will ever be changing here tonight, and the drivers are going to have their hands full.
There are a couple of variables that we'll get to later that is going to make the racing tonight very interesting. But first, let's take a look at the point standings after Le Mans last week. And it's interesting to note that not much of the standings changed from last week to this week. But despite them splitting the victories, Christopher Hill still opened up a gap on Brody Gunter.
Yep, and that's exactly right. Christopher Hill extending that lead. Gunter now 14 points behind. Gunter looking to have a good night here. I believe the last time Christopher Hill was here, he had some incident early on in one of the races. So Hill is looking for a little bit of redemption here at Spa as well himself. Josh Heggie sits there in third. Him and Nate Siefker in a tight battle for the top three in the LMP2 class. Heggie only 1 point to the good from Siefker. And then Austin Lafferty sits there in fifth. Not too far behind Siefker there. In the GT3 class, is it a surprise? I do not believe it is. Dave Seats still at the top of the standings. JJ Wang, 54 points behind, has fallen back to Matt Schlosser a little bit. Schlosser moving forward, only 12 points behind JJ, so a battle for second going on there. And then Mike Hamlin and Kevin Burrows are battling for fourth in the points in the GT3 class as well.
So hello to Joshua Rutherford hanging out with us. One of the wrinkles that we mentioned here tonight, it happens in every league from time to time. I've done it multiple times, see several instances of accidental open qualifying. The wrong setting was input tonight for the LMP2 fuel capacity. So now the LMP2s and the GT3s have the same fuel capacity. Well, that may not sound like a problem, but it definitely is. That's 20% less fuel than these drivers normally carry in the LMP2s, and that could carry some implications as if this race needed another wrinkle tonight.
Yeah, it certainly could. And what we're expecting is the LMP2s may have to make a pit stop in the sprint race. And then we are definitely expecting them to maybe have to make 2 pit stops in the feature race then as well. So that is certainly going to change things up, especially strategy-wise. We always talk about it's usually 1 pit stop there in the feature. Are you going to undercut? Are you going to overcut? Well, now you have 2 opportunities, and depending on where the fuel sits, you might be able to save enough to potentially only make it a 1-stopper if you lay off the throttle on one of the big straightaways here. So there's a lot of variables coming into tonight. Rain is only one of them. Pit stops is another. And, of course, you got the drivers out on the track duking it out as well.
I was going to say the fuel number could come into play, or it might not, because if it starts raining, you're going to have to pit for wet tires anyway. So it's just going to make things that much more interesting here. And I didn't see Jeff Mathis's message tucked up there all the way at the top. Hello to him as well. And hello to all the drivers that are getting ready to go. It is about that time as the gridding has begun. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for round number 13 of the season for the ASRL Eminent Science and Graphics Sports Car Championship. And it is Brody Gunter who will lead the field to the green flag. And, of course, Christopher Hill will flank him to driver's left, headed into La Sauce. It is Nate Siefker and Brian Deese on the second row, Dan Miglin and Austin Lafferty on row 3, Joshua Rutherford and Corey Rutherford on row 4. No Joshua Heggie in the lineup tonight. Kenny Stepp is rocking an LMP2, though. and he will have to be all the way at the tail of the field as he did not get to put up a qualifying lap. In between E-Step and the rest of the LMP2s is the GT3 class, and it is Dave Seats with the top time for the division. Not a surprise there. The driver that finished second to him last week in the feature at Le Mans is Mike Hamlin, and he will start to his outside. Kevin Burrows should have had the feature victory last week. It was not meant to be. He will start in third with Matt Schlosser to his outside. JJ Wang and Matt Johnston on the next rows. Nick Batista, Mike Pepper, Alex Howland, and James Watson, the top 10 in class. Nate Morris, Brian Benoit, Travis Fleming, Gabe Ogden is here for the very first time, and Thomas Klein will round out the starting lineup. Taking a quick look at the radar, it looks clear here for the feature. Track is still lightly wet, but what are the track conditions here for these drivers?
Well, you'll have to give me just a moment to give you the track conditions here, Tommy. Currently very, very cool. 62 degrees is the track temperature right now with an ambient of 65. So track temperature with the rain previously on the racetrack actually cooler than the ambient temperature at the moment. But with it now being clear, suspect that may have a chance to change throughout this first race here, at least, unless we do end up getting some more wet weather. We'll have to see. Expecting about 9 laps for the sprint race here, although if a pit stop has to occur, might get one less than that. We'll have to see. One faster pair in this race, as we have in all of the ASRL Eminent Signs and Graphics races. Unlimited tires, maybe pitting for wet, but I doubt it here in the sprint race. 14X's a drive-through, 21X's a DQ, and let's keep our eye on those LMP2s and fuel strategy here in this one.
Still quite a bit of spray getting kicked up here. I wonder if these drivers are starting on the wets, and if we have a crossover, they may be pitting for the dry tires by the end of it. We'll have to see how quickly it's going to dry out. It's the two most dangerous corners in all of racing, back to back. Oh, and they're wet too now, by the way. Rouge and Raidillon headed up the hill here in a multi-class, especially in the feature. It's going to be rough when it starts to rain once again. As our British friends would say, I hope you brought your wellies here, because this is prime puddle stomping weather for sure out in Belgium.
This first corner very tight as well, Tommy. It's been a while since we've had a tough first corner, but this one is pretty treacherous.
They are through the chicane and headed to start finish. Green flag is in hand. And I think we start on the other straight, now that I think about it. We do. So we'll go around La Sauce. So I think that's even worse, though. Your first corner here is going to be Eau Rouge. I don't know what's worse, La Sauce or Eau Rouge, but we're going to find out. Green flag. There we go.
The only saving grace here is the LMP2s will get to gap the GT3s a bit more than they would otherwise if it was the other way around.
Little contact in both divisions. Headed up Eau Rouge and through Raidillon.
Oh, no!
That's Corey Rutherford. As Christopher Hill has gotten away with the lead, Dave Seats leads the GT3s.
Wow, look at this move from Seifker, and he blows
way
it!
Too deep. He will have a big-time slowdown to serve. Hill is back through. Brian Deese, similar mistake. Clean for the GT3s so far. Seats leading. Burrows and Schlosser side by side as they head through Lacombe and Malmedy.
That group with Burrows and Schlosser and those folks behind them, it was a little hairy, but they made it work, and now still side by side.
Penalties clear for Seifker as Schlosser hanging on to third for now. JJ Wang and Matt Johnston going at it behind them. But Hill from the outside pole with the advantage. Gunter right in his wake, quite literally here. The spray right in Gunter's windscreen. But that's not deterring him.
Seats opening up a gap here in the GT3 class. Meanwhile, LMP2 still pretty close together, and
oh, problems for Dan Miglin. He is off in the grass in the chicane. As Hill will lead the opening lap.
Wouldn't you know it, Hill, Gunter, and Siefker
I'm
are
shocked.
all right here together at the front of the field. Who would have thought?
Well, no Josh Heggie tonight. We lost the Rutherfords last week. As problems for Brian Bonneau and Gabe Ogden as they got together. Headed into the chicane. I think they're both...
Oh, more problems!
Oh.
It's a blocker here.
That's Fleming and Klein with issues.
And Ogden again was around as well.
Yeah, I think Ogden and Bonneau both have meatball flags. Not the debut outing that Gabe Ogden was hoping for. Comfortable lead for Dave Seats, 1.7 over Mike Hamlin. Hamlin himself has a 1 second gap back to Matt Schlosser. Christopher Hill started to pull away a bit from Brody Gunter, and now Gunter, wow, in a four-wheel slide. And that will put him right in the lap of Nate Siefker. I don't know how Gunter kept it on the road. That had disaster written all over it. Meanwhile, J.J. Wang, Matt Johnston. Johnston will get through. As problems for Joshua Rutherford.
Yeah. J.J. Wang had a little bit of a hiccup there, but he's back on the horse now. Able to stay in front of Mike Pepper here. But did lose that one spot to Matt Johnston.
Oh, problems
And
for
more?
Travis
Oh,
Fleming.
my goodness.
Oh, boy. That's Ken Estep there as well. Thomas Klein, Travis Fleming, Ken Estep, all with issues. That might be, well, it won't be the end of Fleming's race because they have the faster pair, but certainly that hampers it. Lap 2 for Hill in the books.
Kevin Burrows and Matt Schlosser still going at it here. They have not been apart nearly at all this entire race.
Ooh,
Burrows
boy.
got to the inside of Schlosser there. Wow, I can't believe it. Schlosser, even with the wet track, was able to rail the outside and stay in front of Burrows. That was a great piece of driving.
I wouldn't even think to try that. That was crazy by both of them. These are two great drivers, though. That's still a bit risky.
Here's the onboard with Burrows. Closest battle on the racetrack right now is between these two. This is for a podium in the GT3 class. This is for third.
And again, it's not raining right now, but that's just the spray that's getting kicked up. Nice to have the windshield wipers.
The horsepower of the Ford. Reaching Schlosser here. Pulls to the inside. Brakes a little bit earlier.
That horsepower did him a lot of favors last week at Le Mans.
Big time.
Schlosser with a little more downforce. As Christopher Hill picks up his first off track. The reason he was able to open up that points gap on Gunter last week, was because he had 2 0x races and Gunter did not. But already Gunter with a 0x and Hill with a 1. So Gunter will try and keep it on the road. Gunter inching his way back up to Christopher Hill. He's got the gap back inside of a second. Nate Siefker's still hanging tough here. He was not very happy with his performance last week, said as much. So maybe a step in the right direction here, back to the pace that he had at the beginning of the season.
We can go on board with Nate here as well. A little bit further behind Gunter, so not quite as much water hitting the windshield here.
And the LMP2s seem to handle the wet a lot better than the GT3s, which I guess maybe shouldn't be a surprise.
Brody Gunter has cut this gap between him and Hill by a couple more tenths.
Yeah, he's up 3 tenths on this lap alone. But behind them, Siefker is up half a second on both of them this lap. So down the Kemmel straight, Siefker feeling the benefits of the tow. This will be a track that these drivers are familiar with, but the wet really changes things, and it's going to be basically here to stay, I would imagine. We might get some dry running in at the beginning of the feature, but rain is expected, if not promised.
Battle here in the GT3s. Matt Johnston pulls to the outside of Burrows.
Burrows really sending it deep! And I couldn't really tell if that was Burrows moving to the left or Johnston trying to turn in. But regardless, a little bit of contact between those two.
Johnston trying to get to the inside here.
Yeah, he's not done fighting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Nate Siefker has pulled right up to the back of Gunter. I think Gunter may have had a slip up there.
Yeah, he went wide through La Sauce.
And Siefker's about to give him La Sauce.
The tow down the Kemmel straight.
We've already seen Siefker try and send this once. How brave is he going to be this time? Not quite as much, and that might not be a bad thing.
Gap is now 1.5 seconds up to Hill. That's through the comb and Malmedy. Siefker hanging tough here with Gunter. Oh, and there's Siefker wide into the gravel. Really doesn't lose that much time, but he does lose a... Well, I guess he already had an incident point, so... Little time loss. Gunter and Lafferty, the only two 0Xs still in the LMP2s. Quite a few GT3s with 0Xs, including Dave Seats, the leader, Mike Hamill, and Matt Schlosser, and Kevin Burrows, all with 0Xs thus far. And for Jeff Mathis, JJ Wang is also rocking a 0X to this point. One minute across halfway as Burrows and Johnston are back at it here down Kemmel. Oh, and pit stops underway. for the LMP2s. Hill, Gunter, and Siefker all down pit road. Brian Deese is going to stay out.
We'll see how far Deese can push it. I mean, this is early. I thought they might have to pit. I didn't realize it was going to be only after 12 minutes. Not even 12 minutes have passed.
Well, we are across halfway, though. Maybe just thinking get it out of the way.
Yeah, potentially.
I don't see this track being good enough to switch to the dry tire. I don't think the crossovers happened. There's still quite a bit of spray being kicked up.
Yeah, we didn't really mention that, but everybody on the wets. I mean, you mentioned that they may be on the wets, but they for sure are on the wets at the moment. And
I think we would have figured out who wasn't on the wets by this point.
And I'm thinking it doesn't look like anybody is switching over from those folks that were just down pit road.
So we'll see how far Deese, Lafferty, and Rutherford could push it. Because if they pit next time by, I think we're in for a long feature. We might have 3 pit stops in the feature.
At this point, it's definitely a potential. Kevin Burrows starting to slip backwards a little bit. Johnston got through, and now J.J. Wang is hounding the back bumper of the Ford Mustang. Dive to the inside for Wang. Is going to be on the outside for this corner, but gets good drive off. Wang has that spot for now.
So Hill, Gunter, Siefker all separated by 1.4 seconds. Go ahead.
Well, that was to get J.J. Wang into the top 5 there in the GT3 class. Matt Schlosser and Matt Johnston not really able to catch Hamlin, but Johnston is making up quite a bit of time on Schlosser and got a great toe there that last lap around the straightaway. And look at this. Johnston's just going to send it to the outside. And has the momentum. Schlosser can't do anything about it.
Oh, I thought maybe he was going long there. Here's Lafferty in. Deese will bypass pit road. Schlosser's been very conservative on braking, I've noticed, into Lacombe, which is where that pass just took place. But, I mean, Johnston has been very fast thus far.
Johnston has a lot of pace at most racetracks, but he can get a little hyper-aggressive trying to make moves and has found himself in some tough spots a lot of times this season. Barry Rutherford trying to work his way through some traffic here after his early incident. Just got through on Mike Pepper. That's for 14th overall. And only 5 minutes left to go here. Brian Deese, Joshua Rutherford have yet to come down pit road, so seemingly they can push it almost to the end.
We'll see if indeed they come down this time.
So at this point, we know that it will only be a 2-stop race in the feature. It's not going to be 3 stops.
That's a sigh of relief.
Comes Corey Rutherford in the LMP2, catching up to J.J. Wang. J.J. Wang has caught Matt Schlosser in a hurry. Schlosser may be struggling a bit here.
Brian Deese bypassing pit road again, I believe.
Boy, this is interesting. Can Brian Deese stretch the fuel?
Unless the entrance is over here. I don't think it is, though.
No, he would have had to have come in already.
Yeah. This
So
is
Brody-
a different layout than we've run in the past, but I couldn't remember where the pit in was on this one. I think it's just the regular pit in. So
Look at this, Tommy. Christopher
Yeah.
Hill, Brody Gunter, Nate Seifer. They have been a couple of seconds apart from each other, and all of a sudden they are right back here together once again.
I mean, this is Gunter right here on Hill. They're a couple car lengths each way, separated. Now make it 3 or 4, but they're all right here in touch.
The other thing we have to think about is if Brian Deese is able to make it one more lap around, he's going to win this thing.
Yeah. Won't that be something?
I mean, typically I don't think Hill, Gunter, or Siefker would make a mistake like that. However, if Deese has been taking it really, really easy on the throttle, let these three get out in front of him, and he was able to save enough fuel, it is possible. He's in some traffic right now.
Yeah, 217 and a 219 for Deese and Rutherford, respectively. That is enough of a gap if they want to go slow and stretch the fuel to hang on to second place for Rutherford. And Deese has got it in the bag. He's got 20 and a half seconds back.
I mean, they're running much slower lap times. Gunter, Siefker, Hill are running 2:15s. And Deese last time around ran a 2:17.6. We're going to find out here in just a couple of corners.
Oh, problems for Kevin Burrows. He is around. But
And
for
Deese
Brian
is-
Deese, he's pitting.
Yep, Deese down pit road. Wow. So
Well-
nearly able to stretch it, but not quite.
White flag is out as Deese crosses the stripe on pit road. Joshua Rutherford will follow suit. So, control of this race will go back to Christopher Hill. But the train is on the tracks right behind him.
Jeff Mathis makes a great point in the chat that even if it wasn't completely wet, it's very cold for those to put those slick tires on at the in the middle of a race here, especially a sprint race. Oh, a little bit of traffic here for Christopher Hill to work through. He gets through one on the straightaway. Is going to get another.
And there's going to be more.
Oh, Gunter was not able to get through there nearly as cleanly.
A weird spot to catch James Watson at.
Yes.
Oh, boy. That was Nick Batista, I believe. And now Gunter's right here on Hill. Gunter's still with a 0x, so he'll make up points even if he finishes second. But he needs to start clawing back some of the disadvantage. Oh, and that is a terrible place to catch a lap car, and nearly Siefker piling into the back.
Siefker does a great job of avoiding that one. Nearly put himself into the lap car trying to move over to the side to not run into the back of Brody Gunter. Look at both of them trying to zoom through traffic here. And that was Burrows. Burrows with a bit of an issue.
Clocks are at 0. It'll be the checkers for Christopher Hill if he could survive the last few turns. Who will take second?
Siefker won't be afraid to send it here. Look at him. He's looking to the inside. Maybe just trying to force Brody into a mistake.
Out of the chicane, Christopher Hill up the straight. He will cross the stripe and take the checkered flag. A technical last lap pass there for Hill, but he will hang on for the dash victory. Brody Gunter in second, Nate Siefker in third. And it is a comfortable 5.5 second lead for Dave Seats, who is just past the halfway mark of the lap. Oh, and there was a problem there for Gunter and Siefker after the checkered flag, but that is going to negate the 0x bonus for Brody Gunter.
Dave Seats taking it extremely easy around these corners. Wants to make sure does not overstep this one on the final lap. Has plenty of time back to Mike Hamlin. And only up to 4th in class left. Have to complete this lap. Seats, Hamlin, Johnson, and Schlosser. J.J. Wang in 5th was lapped by the LMP2s. So Wang already complete with this race.
This is interesting because I think what happened to JJ is he either is towed back to the pits knowing that he couldn't gain or lose a position, or he's lagged out of the session because I'm not even showing him as completed the lap. Regardless, he'll take P5 no matter what. And Dave Seats will head through the chicane to take the checkered flag, and yet another victory for driver number 14 and the Season 1 champ. Back to victory lane for the 20th time with the ASRL Eminent Signs and Graphics Sports Car Championship. Mike Hamlin in second, Matt Johnston in third. Great drive for him. Matt Schlosser then will take spot number 4. Alrighty, we will talk to your Dash Race winners after the break here when coverage of the ASRL Eminent Signs and Graphics Sports Car Championship from Spa returns here on Turn 200.
Ever walked past a business and a beautifully crafted sign caught your eye? That's what we create at Eminent Signs and Graphics Inc. Whether you're starting fresh or revamping your brand, our expert team designs, fabricates, and installs signs that truly embody your business's spirit. From channel letters to monument signs, we handle it all. Ready to stand out? Visit us today at 1888 Freeman Avenue in Signal Hill, California, and see the magic for yourself.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Turn 200's coverage of the ASRL Eminent Signs and Graphics Sports Car Championship from Spa-Francorchamps is presented by Eminent Signs and Graphics. From channel letters to monument signs, they handle it all. Team Watson Racing Setups, Mullet Music Productions, CJR Graphics, and the American Sim Racing League, celebrating 25 years of sim racing excellence.
Alrighty, folks, we are back live from the mid-roll break, and we are here with the winner of your sprint race yet again in the GT3 class, and that is Mr. Dave Seats. Congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, this one was a little bit of a different test here for you. Pretty tough racetrack or course, and on top of that, you add the wet conditions. How was it out there?
Oh, it was. I feel like it's actually a little bit more slippery right now because it's in between, and the lugs of the tires they're trying to grip but not really getting there. So keeping it on the racetrack was definitely an expedition this evening.
Well, you did a great job out front. I did notice that it looked like you were taking it pretty easy on that last lap to make sure nothing happened. But coming up to the feature race, I mean, it's wet and it may start raining here in the feature, and you have to work your way through some traffic here in this one. How's it gonna fare trying to work through in wet conditions?
I feel like this is gonna be more of a challenge, because everybody's skill gap is, one thing in the wet or in the dry, and then you add the wet and conditions with this track that has a lot of elevation change. You have no idea how somebody's going to take the corner in front of you, and it's easy to send it the way you would always send it, but that's not the way they would send it, and then everybody's going to meet in the middle. So it's definitely going to be very difficult to get through, I believe, but we'll do the best we can.
Well, we're looking forward to the attempt. Is there anybody you want to shout out real quick before we let you go to it?
The typical you guys in ASRL and Eminent Signs and Graphics for giving us a place to race, and then Full Send Graphics and Addie's Tool Sales.
Well, sounds good, partner. It just now started raining as we're going to let you go, so we'll let you get mentally prepared, and good luck.
Thanks, gentlemen. Be prepared for a show. It's going to be something.
I was going to say, chance of rain, 100%. Didn't even make that up. And like you said, it's already started raining. So with that in mind, we'll bring in your dash winner for the LMP2s, Christopher Hill, with technically a last lap pass there with Brian Deese having to make a pit stop. But regardless, good stuff there. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's an adventure here with the wet. It's kind of fun. Something new. I haven't done much of the wet racing and iRacing, so it's interesting to try to learn what conditions mean what line, and playing around with that and corner to corner. And now it's going to change again because it looks like skies are opening up again. So this could be quite an interesting one, I would say.
Yeah, interesting strategies across the board with the accidental less fuel. You had to make a pit stop there in the dash, which you normally don't have to do. And the decision to do it early. Of course, it didn't really get you away from anybody. You still had Gunter and Seeker basically breathing down your neck that entire race after taking the lead from the outside pole. I mean, a lot on your plate here tonight.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we decided, hey, once we caught traffic, actually me and Nate were talking about it, hey, we jump into the pits to see if we could not have the GT3 traffic, and Brody follows in, so it kind of made that a wash for the most part. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting in the feature here. I mean, I think it's gonna still be kind of a borderline 2-stop. I don't think it's gonna be something that we can save enough fuel to make it a 1-stop. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see. It definitely, there's some strategy to play with there too, which will make it fun. I actually don't mind the slightly smaller fuel tanks because it does give you more options to play with things and do things to see where you end up. So, could be interesting.
7th win of the season. Congrats on another one. Shout-outs for you.
Thanks to the Team Watson Racing Setup Shop and, of course, Precision Racing Instruction. And, yeah, hopefully we'll see you again in the future.
Sounds like a plan, partner. Take care out there in the rain, and we'll hopefully talk to you again at the end of the night.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
So, yeah, no chance of rain anymore. It's raining. I believe a quote, if I'm remembering correctly, was from Matt Schlosser. He said, "I don't care if there's a foot of rain in Eau Rouge and Raidillon. I'm not lifting." I wonder how these drivers are going to feel about that now knowing that this track is going to start pooling, I would assume, rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some earlier on in the session, and even when we went to the sprint race, it wasn't raining any longer, but it was still wet, and there were a couple spots that were still pooling a little bit of water. So, I mean, with it now raining, I think that is definitely on the table. So when you get side by side with somebody, you're going to have to pick your spots even more carefully now, because you do not want to put yourself in one of those puddles of water.
I think the one thing the drivers will be very happy to have in their back pocket here is the fast repair. Something tells me some drivers might need it if it continues to rain and rain quite hard like it looks like it's going to. So I just want to point out something. Oh, you fixed it. Never mind. I was going to say, I had it wrong on the bottom ticker. We're at Legacy Phoenix next week, not Chicago. For the Chicago street circuit, though, it will be raining, just like it is tonight. They left this to a chance of rain. The sim decided it is going to rain. There is no chance. There is a 100% chance of rain at the streets of Chicago in 2 weeks, and the buffer between that will be a Legacy NASCAR infield of a 1 mile oval. It is going to be a very interesting race next Wednesday night with the ASRL Eminent Signs and Graphics Sports Car Championship, Legacy Phoenix Road Course, usual time of 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Not a whole lot going on the channel right now. Monday night is Truck 200 night. We're at Hotlanta. It's 2008 Atlanta Motor Speedway on Monday, and that is going to be an interesting night as well. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for that as well. I'll let anybody else that's hanging out with us, as we are in the final seconds ticking away here before we turn these drivers loose on a wet racetrack. Oh boy. Do you think we will make it much further than a lap without an absolute catastrophe?
I'm hoping so, but at the same time, I'm kind of hoping not, because it might be fun to see.
And again,
that's the life of a broadcaster right there.
Well, I mean, I would feel bad if they didn't have a fast repair.
That's a good point.
So we'll see who decides to go bowling 400 in Rouge and Raidillon, as it's now time. It is clocks at 0. We're about to set the grid, and oh boy, buckle in, everybody. It's going to be fun. Kenny Stump might be leading the field to green. We'll see if he elects to start from the pits or not. He's still easing back into racing. But provisionally, Kenny Stump is on the pole. Corey Rutherford then will line up on the outside pole. It'll be Joshua Rutherford and Dan Miglin on row number 2. Austin Lafferty, Brian Deese on the 3rd row, Nate Siefker, Brody Gunter, and Christopher Hill. The rest of the lineup for the LMP2s. And for the GT3s, it's Brian Bonneau on the top of the order with Travis Fleming to his outside. Gabe Ogden and Nate Morris on row number 2. Thomas Klein, Alex Talland on the 3rd row. James Watson, Nick Batista, Mike Pepper, Kevin Burrows, your top 10 starters. JJ Wang, Matt Schlosser, Matt Johnston, Mike Hamlin, and Dave Seats. Let's go ahead and take a look at the the weather conditions, although we know it's raining.
But I don't think there's any hiding the weather conditions here at this point. It is certainly raining. It's coming down pretty good as well. And actually, track temperature has not moved a single bit. Ambient temperature has not moved a single bit either. So still 62 degrees is the track temperature. The only difference is the precipitation now upon us here at the beginning of the feature, and it's going to likely continue throughout the duration, or at least for a good majority of it. So by the end of this thing, it's actually probably going to be worse than it is at this very moment.
There looks like there is a small gap here in the radar, but that gap is going to be eclipsed rather quickly. And it is going to keep raining until the drop of the checkered flag, more than likely. Track is moderately wet, according to iRacing, and it was lightly wet for the entirety of the first race. So interpret that however you will. I'm just going to say I don't think there's going to be much room for interpretation here come a couple of corners from now.
No, not whatsoever. Remember, we've talked about it a couple times tonight. One fast repair is available here in this race as well. A 14X drive-through with these conditions may very well be possible, especially here in the longer feature race. The 21X is a disqualification. A reminder about the pit strategy for the LMP2s. We'll be talking about it all night. With a couple of pit stops having to be made, there might be a little bit more room for that one-stop strategy to come into play, maybe run it a little bit slower. Wouldn't be surprised to maybe see at least one of the LMP2s try that one, but of course to make that work, you also have to be mistake-free as well. So that's going to be a big kicker there for that strategy.
With it being wet, it's going to be slower. We might not get as many laps in, so I think that's what Christopher Hill was talking about with maybe not having to make that second pit stop. But I think it's right on the line. Safe money, I would say. Expect a two-stop race. Remember, we go past the actual start-finish straight here and through La Source and onto the second straightaway, where these drivers will stare down the fully wet Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Here we go. Wow.
Oh, no!
Oh,
Contact
boy.
further in the back already.
That's
actually
not gonna be
fairly
good.
minimal. Some contact between other drivers, but fairly minimal there in the middle of the pack. Oh, my goodness. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at the spray absolutely everywhere. Seifried's going to go for a
Blinding.
dive again. Maybe not a little bit cleaner that time around. My goodness.
Slowdowns for Rutherford and Lafferty. Seifker doors Lafferty off the road.
And Brody Gunter got caught up in all of this, has not made up any ground. Christopher Hill up to third already.
Brian Bonneau is the leader in the GT3s. Gabe Ogden, Alex Howell in the top three. It's Joshua Rutherford leading, Nate Seifker and Christopher Hill. Lots of shuffling here in the LMP2s as Gunter picks off Corey Rutherford.
James
we
Watson
didn't have a... Oh, go ahead.
Kevin Burrows battling here as well. Here comes Brian Deese. Deese a little bit wide there through that one. So Gunter still working his way through to the outside of Miglin. Gets a Miglin. Austin Lafferty will be next up, and then after that it'll be Christopher Hill. But the gap is over 3 seconds from Gunter to Hill at this point.
You were just talking about James Watson. He has beached it. He went into the barriers. Now Nate Morris is off the road from third in a precarious spot.
And Seifker has taken the lead, but Christopher Hill, not far behind, is to the inside of Joshua Rutherford.
Spin
Whoa!
for... Whoa!
Contact! Rutherford's off!
And Brian Bonneau is off from the lead in the GT3s as well. Problems for Kevin Burrows. Multiple drivers off the road in both classes.
Goodness gracious. Nobody.
Here's Hill. Hill on Seifker for the lead into La Source.
Seifker going to keep the inside here, but Christopher Hill going to carry a little bit more speed around the outside and should have the momentum out, and does.
So just like that, from the back to the front, Hill leading back into Eau Rouge. Gunter's up to fourth, Seifker in second, Joshua Rutherford in this sandwich. And it's Gabe Ogden leading the GT3s with J.J. Wang in second, Alex Hallen in third, Mike Hamlin side by side with Matt Schlosser for fourth.
Boy, Seifker all over the joint, trying to scare Christopher Hill into thinking something was coming.
I don't think you have to scare anybody into anything.
Matt Schlosser, a huge slide. He's able to make the save. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think they're driving scared right now. I think that's what's happening.
That was right in front of Dave Seats. Matt Johnston does have a problem. And J.J. Wang has gotten through on Ogden here as well. Wang a little bit wide, but still able to keep it. My goodness.
Wang with the lead. Seats now up into 5th.
Look at
Schlosser
Siefker.
slips back.
Siefker is all over the back of Christopher Hill right now.
And all to the lead. He's through.
Wow, what a move around the outside there. That is an impeccable move from Siefker.
That was bold for sure. He takes the lead. Gunter slips into 3rd as Rutherford went wide. Oh, Hill off! Crash! Again, he's got a fast repair, but this is going to cost him valuable time, and he may have to play the strategy game as he drops all the way down to 5th. Rather 6th, almost 7th now. As Brian Deese is knocking on the door.
The GT3s, JJ Wang still leading. Ogden hanging on to 2nd at the moment, but Alex Howland starting to make his way forward. Mike Hamlin, Dave Seats not that far behind either. Jeff Mathis asks, how are them 0Xs? And I'm not sure any are still intact at this point.
There's quite a few. I think you'd be surprised.
Oh my goodness.
But the numbers that are on the board are rather high. Schlosser off the road. He'll lose another spot. Christopher Hill elects not to pit. He is going to try and march back through the field here. On Dan Miglin takes the spot away. As it's Siefker now with a 4-second lead on Brody Gunter. Oh, and Gunter's crashed. Gunter's around.
Not a great spot for Gunter here either. Back into the grass. He's going to lose even more positions than Hill. Way more.
All the way down to 8th. That is rough.
Wow. Big
Dave Seats
moment
run
there
off the
for,
road.
Yeah, big moment there for Dan Miglin as well. Seats is backed up all the way to Schlosser now, who also had a problem earlier.
Oh, Brian Deese stuffs it into the barriers. Joshua Rutherford is off into the gravel.
Oh, my goodness me.
Yep.
I mean, we thought it was going to be rough, but they are flying all over the place here at Spa.
Yeah, I think we left Mount Panorama last season saying, oh, that could have been worse. Well, here it is. Unlike Mount P, it's not going to stop raining.
So after all of this calamity, Dan Miglin has another problem. Oh my goodness, has another problem here as well.
Yeah, he went way long there. The problem is there's not a way through. There looks like there is, but it's got an invisible wall. So he has to basically go backwards to get it back on the track. And Brian Deese with the meatball flag will bring it down pit road. So it's a 10-second lead now for Christopher Hill, who's back in 2nd behind Nate Siefker. After all of that, Hill back to P2. An eventful lap, to say the least.
Yeah, and Siefker was able to pretty much stay with Hill and Gunter in the sprint race, and now Siefker's been given a 10-second lead.
The bad news is Hill last time around was 0.6 faster with everything that was happening between them.
Wow, Hill is getting after it here.
Ooh, problems for Kevin Burrows, problems for James Watson. They both have issues separately. As it's still JJ Wang with the lead in the GT3s. He's got 6 seconds back to Gabe Ogden now. Crash for Austin Lafferty. He was running third in class.
Oh my, the front of this car is just non-existent.
I think his legs are dangling out of the front there.
Alex Howland, Mike Hamlin side by side, and Howland is going to go around the outside here. Mike Pepper right here behind as well. Let's go on board with Mike.
A bit unsettling.
Hear just how delicate Pepper is being on the throttle. They are tiptoeing through that right-hander.
I mean, everybody's driven on the interstate in a torrential downpour before. Imagine doing that, but 3 times faster and with no lanes. Oh, JJ Wang from the lead has crashed. I think he'll still have the lead here, but Gabe Ogden has caught him in a hurry. Just like that, a nearly 8-second lead has vanished, and look at this. The Hornet's nest behind.
And
Ogden,
one of them is an LMP2.
Yeah, Brian Deese. Good luck, Brian. Well, we talked about Christopher Hill being 0.6 faster last time around. Try 2 seconds this time.
Oh, my. Hill has found something here.
Now, the good news for Siefker, he just piped in a purple middle sector. The bad news is Hill just outdid him in the middle sector. Yeah, Hill is going very fast. Even with some damage on that car.
I mean, other than Hill, Siefker is going... It's not like Siefker's taking it really easy. He's going the fastest out of all of the LMP2s, except for Hill, who just is going absolutely ballistic mode right now.
Yes. Siefker's out of traffic for a minute. As Joshua Rutherford just went off the road, so did Brian Deese. Gabe Ogden is off the road here as well, and he'll give up 2 spots. That puts Howland up to second and Hamlin to third. And now, going to try and combo it. Yeah, here's Hamlin with a peek to the right. But it's Howland in the Mustang out braking into the chicane, and will hang on to second. That 10-second gap is now a 6.7-second gap. Hill was 1.4 seconds up last time by on Siefker. Nate's still clicking off personal best sectors here. They're just not fast enough for what Christopher Hill's bringing.
James Watson with another problem, but a tough feature race for Watson here.
Oh, Mike Hamlin. Hamlin from third, now nearly going to drop out of the top 10 and might as he's back into the sand.
Dave Seats has taken his time working through here, talked about how difficult it might be. He's found his way to third, and all of the calamity around him, he has weathered the storm, literally and figuratively here, to get himself to a podium position, and he is right behind Alex Howland. Here's the onboard.
For JJ Wang, he was still faster than Dave Seats last time around. And he's continuing to build this gap. 4.75 seconds right now over Howland, with work yet to do for Seats. Christopher Hill went purple in the final sector. This gap is under 5 seconds. Travis Fleming is towed back to the pits. As Mike Pepper, Gabe Ogden side by side through Lacombe. Boy, that was tight. And that is Pepper taking that spot away. Oh, problem. Gabe Ogden now is gone for a spin. And Christopher Hill also had a problem somewhere in the first sector. He lost almost 2 seconds.
And he was also behind a lap car there as well. So multiple issues for Hill.
Oh, Mike Pepper now, who just took that spot away, is crashed. So problems for Pepper and for Ogden there in just a couple of corners time from one another.
Pepper having a hard time getting going.
I don't think he has a meatball. I think he's just stuck in wet grass. Showing a 4X for Matt Schlosser, but he's still on the road here, so not sure what happened there.
Dave Seats inching towards Howland yet again here.
JJ Wang is still opening this gap up on both of them. It's over 6 seconds now, as they've had to let some faster traffic through. Siefker still losing time to Hill.
And Siefker just got around those two in a good spot. Though might give himself a bit of an advantage depending on where. Oh, here comes Christopher Hill.
Hill coming to pit road. That gap that I was talking about in the radar has folded in on itself. There is no chance of a break in the rain. The good news is I don't think the intensity is going to increase.
I'm curious about that move from Hill because he was getting ready to get around the leaders, basically, of the GT3 class with really nobody else out front, although we are getting really close to pit stops for both Hill and Siefker. Siefker, I would think, has to come in the next time around based on the pit stops from the sprint race.
I would agree. But the only other driver that came in was Dan Miglin.
Yeah, Gunter, Rutherford, both of the Rutherfords stay out.
I'm surprised that Gunter wouldn't be down pit road, considering we know that he has damage. And Dan Miglin on pit road has picked up a meatball flag.
Oh, no. Johnston. Trouble trying to get to the inside of Bonneau. They get together. Johnston gets the worst of it.
Oh, boy. That's a lot of damage there on the front of the 404.
Dave Seats still has not been able to get around Alex Howland here.
Not from a lack of effort. He's been about this close for a lap now. Maybe not that close, but pretty close. Now they'll have to let Brody Gunter through. Gunter's kind of getting boxed out here.
Yeah, Seats is going for it.
Oh, boy. Gunter might bump drive Seats through. Dave will take it.
Whoa, and then a little bit wide, but so is
Whoa.
Howland. Seifker down pit road.
See if Gunter will follow, and he will. Man, oh man. Only the second time we've had wet racing here. It's pretty fun. Well, for us anyway.
I think it's fun for the drivers, but it's just very difficult.
Well, I was talking earlier, not that I'm much of a road racer. I'm really not. Driving in the wet is really fun, though. But competitively, I would imagine it's pretty frustrating. Early GT3 pit stops. Schlosser has had some damage. Ogden has had some damage. And Matt Johnson definitely has some damage. So, can't say I'm surprised to see these drivers down pit road. Joshua Rutherford also in for the LMP2s. See if Christopher Hill somehow could cycle out to the lead here on Seifker. Seifker just now coming out of the pits. Hill is headed up the hill.
Oh, boy.
They're pretty close. Hill is into the spray with the speed advantage and the toe. And I think he might be able to... No, not quite enough straightaway to try and muscle around. No, he's going to do it anyway.
Wow, what a move.
Oh, and these are teammates. Nearly wheel-to-wheel contact through Malmedy. Seifker's been wanting this first win on the season. And who's to say Hill doesn't have an issue here, but one thing that Hill does not have is a lack of pace. He is on rails, if you can be. Ooh, problems for Mike Pepper. Oh, Seifker spins.
Man.
It was just a quick little lockup, and he's back in motion into the chicane. But that car did come to a full stop and was in a four-wheel slide. No contact with any car or any barrier.
And that's Seifker just trying to see how far he can push it. He knows he's got to get pace and find it somewhere to be able to get up to Christopher Hill, but overstepped the boundaries a little bit there.
Well, unfortunately, that balloons a 2-second disadvantage to over 6 seconds now. And again, Hill, like you mentioned, has the pace.
Dave Seats got himself cleared a second a few laps ago in the GT3 class, trying to be in pursuit of JJ Wang, but has actually lost a bit of time, I think, here. The gap up to Wang about 9 seconds.
Yeah, last time by, he was only 1/10 faster. And neither JJ or Dave Seats have a 0x right now, so that advantage is negated for either one of them. As Alex Howland was off the road, he's back in motion, though. He'll stay in third. Well, Mike Hamlin just had a spin as well, but is back in motion as well. This is just a little casual. You ever done just a casual 360 out on the road?
I mean, no, I haven't, and I never want to.
How about a parking lot in the snow?
Have certainly done that.
Okay, there we go. You know, you're a willing participant of that.
Yeah, of course I am. Actually, in the back part of my parents' property, I used to do that, so that was always fun.
There you go. Seifker did cut back into that gap a bit. He was only a 10th off the pace of Christopher Hill last time around and ran a personal best final sector. Here's Dave Seats down pit road from second.
Yeah, pit stops from more of the GT3s should be coming here. A lot of them have been down pit road.
Oh, crash! Nate Seifker and JJ Wang, the GT3 leader, have gotten together. That's the second week in a row Seifker has been involved with the GT3 leader. And for Seifker, that has given him a black flag. He may have gone over the pit exit line. I'm only showing him with 4 incident points. Regardless, though, he'll have a penalty to serve, and that will certainly take him out of it.
Well, we got a couple things to look at here, so let's look at... I think this is the initial incident for Christopher Hill. Oh, man, just trying to carry speed around the sweeping right. Completely loses it. Here's incident for Brody Gunter. And also in a right-hander, just loses the rears. You're going to see him compound the mistake a little bit here. Has to back all the way up. Here was the incident for JJ Wang earlier on when he had the big lead. Little slide, did have to come pretty much to a complete stop there. And now, take a look. I'm not sure if this is that incident or not. This may have been Seifker's first incident here. Yep, that's the one where Seifker went for a slide. That was behind Christopher Hill. I'm having a bit of trouble finding the incident with JJ Wang, so we'll go back and find that at some point.
Well, a bit of an update to pass along. Dave Seats, Brody Gunter, and Mike Hamlin all had spins. Hamlin got the worst of it. He has retired from the race. He was running third in class.
Wow.
But Seats and Gunter both with spins. They didn't hit anything. But JJ Wang now down pit road. And Seifker down to serve his penalty here as well. I am going to go back if we can't find the replay of it and see what caused Nate Seifker to get that penalty. Because I was not showing him even near the incident limit. Oh, that is such a strange incident. And yeah, he must have eclipsed the incident limit. It didn't even look like they touched.
The Wang still on pit road. Seats making his way towards I think technically turn number 1. I don't know what you want to call it. Wang is still sitting here. Seeds is going to take the lead.
Wow. Oh, Siefker is off the road and into the barriers hard, and I think he is going to retire the car.
Has Wang had some sort of an issue getting onto pit road?
Not that I'm aware of.
Still sitting there. Sitting in his pit box for quite a while.
Yeah, that is strange.
Now
I'm
gets
not
it
showing
rolling.
not showing any penalty, but that is consistent with that of a penalty. Well, that is going to be crushing to JJ Wang, not only in terms of losing a race victory, seemingly anyway, but also in terms of the points championship. Needs to find any way to claw back some points on Dave's seats, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, pit time for JJ Wang appears to be 50 seconds.
So that would be consistent with a 40-second stop and hold. Again, I was not showing, but I was also showing Nate Siefker with only 4 incident points, and he had a drive-through penalty, so...
Siefker lagged out of the session. I'm showing him turning.
He just retired.
Ah.
Yeah, he stuffed it into the barriers there and called it a day. Brian Diesel, bring it down pit road. I mean, so much is happening. I'm just rattling off names and where they've ended up. It's hard to gloss it over.
Here's something to pay attention to. All of a sudden, Matt Schlosser has caught up to Dave Seats a little bit here. Seats putting some time on him at the moment. But Schlosser now in second in the GT3s may have an opportunity to fight for the win here.
But is Schlosser pit yet? I can't remember if he's been down pit road or not.
According to what I have, he has. I'm showing Schlosser came down on lap 7.
Okay, I'm now seeing that as well. I just had to scroll a lot further through a lot of off tracks and crashes to get to that. All right, so Schlosser looking for another one as problems for Kevin Burrows. Boy, he just hit the wall hard. And he has eclipsed the incident limit. So there's some sort of discrepancy between my incident count and the Sims, because I'm only showing him with 5 incident points.
Still trying to
14.
Still trying to find this incident for JJ Wang. That's just him getting onto pit road.
Brody Gunter has eclipsed the incident limit.
Oh, wow. Well, Gunter has had a couple of problems here, pretty big ones.
Yeah, certainly. And when I say incident limit, I mean the drive-through penalty 14X. Nobody's been disqualified yet. A couple of drivers that are, I would imagine, are pretty close have decided to call it a race already.
I'm going to try one more replay here and see if this would be the incident. And I don't believe it is. I think this is the same one we already saw for Siefker. So, apologies. Might not be able to get that Siefker-Wang incident on your screen here.
Well, I can tell you this much. Siefker was flying up Rouge around the outside, and it did look like, I mean, just maybe it was just the camera angle I was on. It did not look like they touched. It just looked like JJ got bonked around by an invisible hand. And Kevin Burrows has retired from this race.
Wow, all of a sudden, so much has happened here just in the last 10 minutes. As far as retirees hitting incident limits, many incidents.
Yeah.
The hits just keep on coming. You know what
Seats
else is wild here, Tommy?
Yep.
Christopher Hill has a minute and 24-second gap over Brody Gunter in second.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, but Gunter was a 10th faster last time.
We need a 24-hour race for him to be able to catch up at that point.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, that is maybe the biggest gap for a lead I've ever seen. At least here on the channel. Christopher Hill did win a Daredevil race by a full lap, but that was a Brands Hatch Indy where the lap is 43 seconds. This is bigger than that. Five and a half minutes to go. Seats has extended the lead up to a second and a half now over Schlosser. JJ Wang is riding in fourth, and he's got a lot of work to do to catch up to Alex Howland in P3.
Schlosser has speed. He's just not quite as consistent as Seats here. He'll gain a little bit, especially through these couple corners. He's been really solid, but seems like the back half he loses a little bit to Seats.
Stating the obvious here, but Seats is not infallible. Nobody is. Everybody's had a problem tonight. So it is certainly not over. It's not over for Christopher Hill, even with a minute plus lead.
Oh, and Schlosser is wide, so Seats a much more comfortable lead now.
I've talked about the discrepancies between iRacing's incident tally and my incident tally, and I'm showing Schlosser with 11 incident points. So he is walking a fine line here. Christopher Hill was just off the road. He is down pit road now. And if somehow Brody Gunter pitted 2 laps after Christopher Hill last time, he might have a shot. I don't think he did, though.
I think he stayed out, but I think it was only 1 lap. But who knows?
Who knows?
He may have done enough.
Nate Morris with a crash. I'm sure some of these drivers are begging for the timer to speed up here.
Not that it's going to matter for Gunter because he is still quite a ways behind Christopher Hill at this point.
I'm showing that he still lost time on the relative, even with Hill coming down pit road. First disqualification of the night is Nate Morris.
Yeah, something in that timing loop is not right because I'm still showing Hill a minute and 25 seconds ahead of Gunter, and I know for a fact that is not correct.
Yes. I'm also showing that. It is a big lead. I think the numbers at this point don't really matter. Gunter has had a horrible time trying to get through traffic tonight.
Tommy, look at this. Matt
Yes.
Schlosser.
He's clawed his way right back into the mix.
I mean, he just has no quit in him. I love it.
This is Hill, I believe, coming through. So our leaders will converge for the final time here this race.
Visibility for Schlosser was nearly zilch there for a moment, as he was right behind Dave Seats, and then Christopher Hill in the other lane spraying him down as well.
I mean, I've been watching this entire race from the blimp cam, and the entire Belgian countryside is just spray at this point. There, scoring is updated. It's a 45-second lead for Christopher Hill. White flag for Christopher Hill. White flag for Dave Seats. Seats has his hands full with Matt Schlosser right behind, but Hill just needs a solid lap to bring it home. 3/4 of a minute lead. Thomas Klein and Kenny Estep got tangled together.
Johnston, Gabe Ogden starting to battle here as well.
Brody Gunter down pit road as Ogden and Johnston had some contact there, I believe. We'll see if Joshua Rutherford is going to bring it down pit road or not. He might be on for a podium here.
He is not. He's going to try and stretch it out.
I think he's on for second if he could bring it around.
JJ Wang has been able to catch Alex Howland, but not very much time left to try and complete the pass.
Oh my God, Christopher Hill is off. Oh, he just kept it out of the barriers. Boy, that could have been an absolute disaster. Oh my Lord. Rutherford is up to second. Schlosser with the final couple of corners here to try and make something happen. Through the chicane, Christopher Hill is going to hang on for a wet weather win here in Spa. He will sweep it here in Belgium. For the GT3 win, Schlosser inching closer. He and Seats both wide there. Into the chicane, Schlosser tries to outbrake. Gains a little bit of time, but not enough. Dave Seats going to break out the broom here. Schlosser will finish in second. Problems there on the final lap for Alex Howland. Sees JJ Wang getting back through. He will take third. As we nearly have to wait a minute after Christopher Hill to see Joshua Rutherford running in second. He's got 14 seconds back to Brody Gunter, who has just crashed once more. And that's going to allow Dan Miglin to get to third. Joshua Rutherford across the stripe, and he will take second here at Spa. Best finish of the season. Welcome to the Podium 64. He said rain racing is hard. Yeah, okay. You'll be asking for rain every week.
The strategy call for him, too, to be able to make that a one-stop race.
And he says, I am now out of fuel. Awesome stuff here.
Well, let's take a look back at a couple of these late race incidents. This was the incident for Christopher Hill that nearly ended this one. I mean, just sends it too deep, but somehow able to slow it down in the gravel trap, makes his way through the grass, and is able to continue for the W. And then here is the incident for Alex Howland. He's just trying to push it to try and catch back up to JJ Wang. Wang was already through, and Howland gets into the barrier. Boy, what a race.
Oh, man. Well, that one's behind us. We'll look forward to Phoenix. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the full finishing rundown here. We'll start with the LMP2s. It's Hill with the win and the sweep here at Belgium. Joshua Rutherford will be in booth 200 here in just a second. Great run for him tonight. Dan Meglin will round out the podium. Brody Gunter. Oh, man. What a rough night for the 0-1. He'll finish in 4th. Bryant Deese in P5. Corey Rutherford in 6th. Austin Lafferty, Ken Estep will finish the race tonight. Nate Seifker, a retiree. To the GT3s, Dave Seitz will sweep the evening. Matt Schlosser will be in 2nd. We'll talk to him in here in just a moment. JJ Wang will start in 3rd, or finish in 3rd, rather. Alex Howland in 4th. Mike Pepper in 5th. Brian Beno, Gabe Ogden, Nick Batista, Matt Johnston, and Nate Morris, your top 10. Kevin Burrows, Thomas Klein, Mike Hamlin, James Watson, and Travis Fleming. The rest of the finishing order. DNFs for a few of those drivers, I believe, from Morris on down in the finishing order. So we'll talk now with Matt Schlosser, who gave it everything he had. We'll come up just a little under a second short, but a fantastic drive here in a night where every single driver had a problem.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, it was very difficult. I was just talking to Dave in the waiting room about how tough it was as the rain came down more and the track got wetter. Man, it was fun racing him there at the end. I wish we had a couple more laps to battle it out. I was close enough to make a move going into the last few corners, but unfortunately I was completely blind in his spray. I couldn't even see my entry point into that kink, whatever it's called, before the chicane. I was like, if I try to make up time here, I'm going to die and maybe kill him too. So I played it a little conservative. Maybe should have gone for it, but glad I didn't. But 2nd place is okay, especially to a guy like Dave who's been extremely fast. So it was a good result.
All right, Society Matt's reunited here. What you got?
Well, first of all, congrats on the podium. Good to have you back up here in the booth as well. It's been a little bit too long since we've had that one, but I mean, we knew that weather was probably gonna happen going into the night. I mean, how did you feel coming into it as a whole with a tough race course and weather on the way?
Yeah, I was nervous. I mean, I have not done too much rain racing, and the rain racing I've done mainly has been like Formula 4 and like open wheel cars. So I wasn't used to like how the traction control and like ABS kind of helps you and when it doesn't help you anymore because it's just not physically possible. So luckily I had a nice long practice session. Got in right when it opened and got used to the way it felt in the rain and just kind of didn't over pushed it. There were a few close calls. Like I was completely sideways in Rouge and Raidillon, and also the kink coming around the backside a few times, but I got really lucky not to totally stuff it either of those times. So I was nervous, and I'm pleasantly surprised to come out 2nd here in the feature. I think I just kind of survived and then managed to stay out of trouble.
Well, survival is at the top of the checklist here tonight, and not a whole lot of people could say that they did that. So well done. Congrats on the P2. Shout-outs for you.
Yeah, sure. Shout out to ASRL, Corey, for all the admin stuff he does, and Eminent Signs and Graphics for sponsoring the league. Turn 200. Also, just everybody I raced with tonight, I feel like everyone around me was very clean and courteous for the conditions, and there wasn't a whole lot of massive bumping, and at least not that I saw. Maybe there was stuff off screen that happened, but yeah, it was that's pretty much all I got though.
Well, thanks for the time as always. Congrats. We'll talk to you again here soon.
All right, cool. Thanks.
So we'll talk to the driver that sweeps the evening. Dave Seats back in booth 200. An interesting feature, like you said. A lot went down for you as well. A couple of spins for you, but it doesn't matter in the end. You walk away with the victory.
Yeah, it went better than I had envisioned it going. So we'll call that a win and move on. But yeah, it was definitely a night. And I did it to myself on the second spin. I took 2 tires instead of 4, and that was not a good idea. This car was so unbalanced the second half of that race.
Which 2 did you take?
I took the rears to get better traction, which I had better traction, but it made the car very snap oversteer everywhere.
Oh wow. That's difficult. I mean, there's so many factors, not the least of which was getting caught by faster traffic here. I mean, the speed differential was on full display, even at a track that's kind of wide, but I mean, there's so many choke points here.
It's even worse than normal on the track because it's a natural elevation track, which makes it a gorgeous track and a fun track to race on in the dry. In the wet, there's a lake in every corner apex, so we can't go there in the GT3 car, so we hang it out wide, and then that makes the LMP think that we're opening the lane up, and they try to stuff a hole that isn't really there, and then everybody's trying to, pray that the back end doesn't all die.
Matt, what you got?
Congrats on a great race here. We talked about before the feature race how you were going to have to work your way through, and we were patient. You took your time to make it happen, but man, you were really having to tiptoe your way through some of these corners behind traffic. I mean, how difficult was it to be patient through some of these? Because I think even without the traffic in front of you, you were tiptoeing through a lot of these corners tonight.
Well, in the beginning of the race, it was okay, but yeah, it was hard to set up a pass because all the good passing opportunities are after a full send type of turn, and you had to judge how full send the racer in front of you was going to, give it. So you back off a little bit, and then if you backed off too much, then you had to try to make it up, and then you had to wait till the next lap. And I mean, we didn't punt anybody other than myself, so that's a good race for me, especially in the wet. Like, just trying to keep it off of other cars and on the black stuff is a challenge. And like I said, then I did it to myself, putting 2 tires on. I either should have just left it or took 4, but I guess in the end it did help me because I think JJ took 4 with his pit stop time. It was fast after, but the extra time in the pits is what gave me that jump. So it was scary, and I had to hold the car, but I mean, the 2 tires probably is what gave me the win, giving me that track position, and I just had to white knuckle it around the track for 5 or 6 laps.
Well, great stuff here tonight. Congrats on another sweep. Shout outs for you for the road.
You guys, I bet this was a fun one to watch back tomorrow in the ret. And then the ASRL guys, Eminent Signs and Graphics, all our other sponsors. And then Jordan at Full Send Graphics and Chris at Ease Tool Sales.
Win number 21 for Dave Seats with the ASRL Limited Signs and Graphics Sports Car Championship. Congrats. We'll hopefully talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
We'll bring up your P2 finisher. It's time to talk to Joshua Rutherford, who will bring it home in the runner-up spot here tonight on fumes. But it don't matter because you crossed the line P2. Well done. Oh, no, don't tell me he's not here. You got a
Can
copy,
you hear me now?
Joshua? Yeah, there we go. All right.
Hey, there we go.
What's up?
I don't know how I did that. I really don't.
No, I mean, you stretch the fuel early in the dash as well. You stretch it here. How did you stretch it? I mean, was that the intention the whole time?
And I try to save fuel if and when I can, but I think half of the reason was there's just so much rain. I was so slow that I was just able to save as much fuel as I did. Because I literally came out of Eau Rouge the final lap after I crossed the finish line and I ran out of gas. So I don't know how I saved it, but I did.
I mean, that's just part of it. I think sometimes it goes your way, and in a season where it really has not gone your way, seemingly at all, it's been very unkind this season. You'll take one of those, I'm sure.
Oh, I'll definitely take it.
Matt, what you got?
Yeah, congrats on a great race here and a great strategy there as well. Able to save the fuel. Good to get to talk to you here as a podium finisher. Congratulations. We got a message from you, I think, in the middle of this race. Did you have to dig the phone out of your pocket while you were in the pits there, or where did you have that stored?
No, that's because I listen to the stream while I'm racing, so I have the chat right on my other monitor.
That's dangerous.
So while I'm sitting in the pit road, I can type in something that takes only 10 seconds.
I don't know. Letting Matt and I pollute your mind while you're having to do this is pretty dangerous stuff.
I don't know
tonight,
how you do it.
I was gonna say tonight it worked out pretty well, seemingly. Not that we had any influence, but great job. Well done on the P2. Let's get some shout outs for you here.
All right, shout outs to Eminent Signs and Graphics for being our league sponsor, Team Austin Racing Setups, you guys, Matt, Tommy, everyone at Turn 200s that puts on these amazing broadcasts. You all are insane. I want to shout out Calvin, who wasn't here, my fellow full Weeb WIP teammate. It's too bad he wasn't here to see this. Shout outs to my dad, my brother, who support me in all my racing, my mom, who usually makes it to all these, but she had something going on tonight and couldn't watch tonight. CJR Graphics for making amazing paint jobs for me for many, many years now. And then shout out to Mullet Music Productions. My music is available everywhere you find it, so go take a listen.
The first driver not named Brody Gunter or Christopher Hill to have an interview at the end of the night in an LMP2. Joshua Rutherford with the P2 here at Spa. Congrats. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you again at Phoenix, hopefully.
All right. Thank you.
And we will talk to Christopher Hill, who will sweep the evening here at Spa, not without some eventful happenings, a couple of spins, a couple of interesting turn of events there on the final lap, but you bring it home in P1.
Yeah, I about gave myself a heart attack there on the last lap.
Me too.
I was thinking, man, let's see if I can improve the fast time a little bit. So I was pushing a little bit for that lap, and then I just locked up the brakes, and it was like, oh gosh, because in practice, not in this session, but I did a little practice earlier in the week in the rain. Every time I did that, I rode off the car, and I was just like, oh god, no, please no. And luckily, I had the presence of mind to get off the brake and get the thing turned some, and it it just survived. I'm like, that was dumb with a 40-second plus lead to try that hard for a fast lap, and it turned out I had it anyways. So I was like, oh man, but man, what fun! What a spa day,
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's feeling very relaxed after this one.
Very refreshing.
Matt, what you got?
Yeah, congrats on the race win here. I mean, everybody in the LMP2 class had major incident there throughout that one. I mean, your first one was pretty early on. I mean, did that almost set you up for the success because you kind of knew how hard you could push it, how hard you couldn't, and kind of made you maybe relax a little bit for the rest of the race, and then everybody just made their mistakes? How do you think that one played out?
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for the best, obviously. I mean, in the long run, being behind Nate and then seeing that I had some pace once I started, searching for the grip offline, it gave me some confidence there. And then, yeah, just kind of, I had this hunch. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty certain I'm gonna have to two-stop anyways. So I figured I'd do the stop one lap early because it looked like we were coming into traffic, and I guess Nate must have had a problem on that lap besides whatever traffic, because I still caught traffic on my out lap. And so, strategy worked out, but not exactly the way I was expecting it to work out. And, from there it was just trying to keep it clean and trying to find grip. And, man, I'm really enjoying the rain and this stuff. I haven't really done much rain in iRacing, and finding out it's actually very true to life in a lot of ways. And for a bit there, I was really frustrated with it, the little bit that I have driven it, because you try to drive the normal driving line because it seemed like that's what it wanted, and then you couldn't go anywhere. And now it turns out, yeah, no, actually works very similar to real life. You can just run really wacky rain lines and be reasonably fast. So that was a lot of fun, just playing around with the lines, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm sure it wasn't fun for everybody, but I sure enjoyed it. So,
well, it was fun for us because we didn't have to drive it, but glad you were able to get a couple of wins and headed into the Thanksgiving break. Congrats. Anybody you want to shout out again?
Thanks to Team Watson Racing Setup Shop. Hit them up if you're looking for some stuff there. Also Precision Racing Instruction. That's my company there. I coach people in the real life, and also in the sim from time to time. And so if you're looking at a little tune up there, hit me up. And I keep saying I'm gonna have something coming soon. It's coming soon. Let's like hashtag soon, but we'll have some exciting stuff down the road here, not too far. So hopefully we'll be able to let you guys know when we got that available. Thanks guys, put it on the race, and whoever sponsored this thing, good pick. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. So I'm actually looking forward to Chicago in the rain of all crazy things. Is that nuts? Have I lost a screw or two?
I mean, I think it's nuts that they decided to put it on. I don't know if it makes you nuts for enjoying it, but it's going to happen either way. So you might as well embrace it.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, maybe I'll hate it when maybe make like one turn and all die, but I don't know. It'll be fun. So looking forward to it. Have a good Thanksgiving, guys.
Yep, you as well. We'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it sounds good.
And that's another blooper on my part. We're not at Phoenix next week. Next week we're nowhere because it's the day before Thanksgiving. So we'll look forward to some turkey pre-gaming next Wednesday night and enjoying a night off here on Turn 200. Regardless, this was, as advertised, a wild night here at Spa.
It certainly was, Tommy. I mean, we were, when we knew the rain was very possible, we knew that it was going to be interesting. I mean, I knew it was going to be rough, but it was... I don't know if I was just crazy, just like Christopher Hill. It was actually more rough than I thought it would be as we went along. I thought the drivers might kind of settle into, I don't know how much rhythm you can have in the rain, but at least to settle into a bit of a sense of security and just kind of maybe toning down the lines that they were driving and things like that. But it seemed like they just kept pounding their heads against the wall, and nobody really came out on top except for maybe the winners here in the feature race. So it was a tough night overall for absolutely everybody. Nobody went out unscathed, and it was just a survival of the fittest at its core. And Christopher Hill, Dave Seats, they were able to survive the best.
Yes, they sure were. Matt, let's put a bow on it here. Let's who was hanging out with us here tonight?
Yeah, well, Jeff Mathis was here in the chat, throwing some knowledge our way. Always appreciate Jeff being in the chat, as well as Joshua Rutherford. Congrats again on the second place there for Josh in the feature race. And Ken Eastup was in the chat as well. Always great to hear from Ken and see him out on the racetrack. It's awesome to see him out there after everything he's been going through. So shout out to you, Ken. Appreciate you being around. And to everybody else that was watching here tonight, appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you all on Monday next week.
Yep, Monday's our only broadcast next week. It is Truck 200 from Atlanta 2008, and that's going to be a spicy meatball. 8:30 p.m. Eastern time for that. We got a week off next Wednesday night. More Truck 200 action after that, and that will lead us into Legacy Phoenix Road Course. 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Into December we go, and into the final 3 races of the season. Hard to believe this season is already almost at its end. Final 3 weeks, final 6 races on the season at Phoenix, at Chicago, and at Misano. So that is the closing stretch here that we are now in. With Gunter's problems here tonight, Christopher Hill with issues as well. Did not get a 0x bonus in either race. Of course, nobody got it in the final race, but points are going to be looking interesting when we come back here in a couple of weeks as well. And Dave Seats might have the championship all but wrapped up at this point with problems for JJ Wang in the feature race tonight. So That's all to determine down the road, though. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us here tonight. Thank you to Eminent Signs and Graphics from Monument Signs Channel Letters. They handle it all. Thanks for their sponsoring support of the ASRL Eminent Signs and Graphics Sports Car Championship for season number 2 of 2024. That's all we got for you here tonight. On behalf of everybody with the ASRL, for the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson, until we meet again here from Spa Franker Shop, I'm Tommy Cook saying so long, and congratulations to Dave Seats and to Christopher Hill on sweeping the night. This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.